Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight we have a good one. It is the 802 Busch Series here tonight at Phoenix. These guys going for 150 miles here, but before we kick it off to racing action, of course, we got to head down trackside and go through qualifying here tonight. Of course, just like always, 5 minutes, 2 laps here around Phoenix. Best of those 2 laps will set tonight's starting lineup. As we have some cars here already out on the speedway, we're taking a look here at the one car of Brandon Guerin. And here at Phoenix, of course, very long outlap. That is because the start finish line right here, they have moved it for quite a few years now. And of course here tonight, open dogleg, can cut it on down wherever you want to run is fair game. So we'll see people spread on out, especially on restarts here. As we take a look as the one machine off of turn number 2 down now the very long back straightaway. And then heading through 3 and 4. Turn 4, of course, very tight right up against the wall. The one car lap number 1 good enough for a 27.71. So that is the quick time, not anymore, as Steve Ritter will throw down a 27.46. Looks like Guerin gonna call it on the time there. So we will take a look here. Try and catch someone else here out on the racetrack. And it looks like it is Landon Audit here in the 15 machine. And it sounds like maybe only 1 lap time here given tonight. So everyone having to stay on their toes, stay on top of their lap, only get 1 shot at it. As Audit here for his lap. We'll see where the 15 will slot on it. It looks like P number 7, a 27.86 for Landon Audit. Rick Kennedy here in the 10 machine. We will see where he can go. As Kennedy here will take lap number 1. We'll see where he can go as Trying to make sure if that was too green. I believe it was a little bit loose there off of turn number 2, but Kennedy and the Monster Energy machine down the back straightaway here. And so far it looks like 10 cars here taking a time over 21 here tonight. As old Kennedy big time loose there off of turn number 4. That will do it. Here we go. We take a look here at a driver that has visited victory lane quite a bit. It's a 38 Kit Kat machine of Chad Coleman. Coleman will go quick time there on that lap, a 27.40 from the 38 machine. As we will take a look here, see who else has to take a lap. Looks like another car here is a 6 of Johnny Barker. As it looks like Barker here bailing out of this lap. Gonna, looks like, slow things on down. Maybe try and reset as we take a look at Ron Holyfield just completing his lap. The 25 machine here tonight will slot into P number 10 for the time being. As yeah, so far only 13 cars here taking a lap so far here tonight. Right now it's still Chad Coleman is top the charts. And remember, folks, last broadcast, not getting a chance to chat to Chad Coleman nor Steve Ritter. Hopefully they will be on the podium here tonight. If not, we will try and grab a word with them as well after the race. So be sure to tune on in here later tonight. Post-race show gonna be jumping here tonight. As it looks like, yeah, time gonna run on out for most people here. So it looks like when all things are said and done here, Chad Coleman here tonight gonna pick up yet another pole award. And that, of course, being presented by Riptide Radio. So big shout out to Riptide Radio once again, being a proud partner here with the 802 iRacing League. And Chad Coleman here tonight with the quick time and will be leading the field to the green flag. Speaking about the field, let's get ready to head down trackside and go through tonight's starting lineup here tonight at Phoenix. So here we go, folks. The starting lineup here tonight will look like the following. Chad Coleman in the 38 machine will lead the field to the green flag. Remember, Coleman last week finished P number 3, looking for yet another win on the season. To his outside, he will roll off P number 2 here tonight. Finished P number 2 last week. It is the 61 machine of Steve Ritter. Then we head back to row number 2, starting on the inside. It is the 83 machine of Jacob Wilson, rolling off P number 3. And to his outside, here starting in 4th, is the 46 of Dustin Coggin. Larry Bell in the 45 machine will round out the top 5. Then to his outside, rolling off in 6th, is the 1 car of Brandon Guerin. We head back to row number 4 here tonight. On the inside will be the 24 of Aiden Tatro. Tatro will roll off 7th, rolling off 8th is the 15 of Landon Audit. Mike Kelly, last week's winner in the 43 machine, going to start a little bit deeper here tonight. He will roll off in 9th, and Ron Holyfield in the 25 machine will round out the top 10 here. Rolling off 11th is Connor Dudek in the 50 machine, and Matt Crook in the 87, starting in 12th. 13th is Rob Lowell in that 21 machine. Scott Simley here in the 33 will roll off in 14th. 15th is Logan Cougar. 16th going to Tanner Martin. Rick Kennedy will start 17th. 18th is Cody Gibson. 19th is Johnny Barker. George Letzma is 20th. 21st is Ken Kuko. And Bryson Anderson here will round out the 22 car field. As here we go, folks. We are going green right now as Chad Coleman on the loud pedal. And we go to green flag racing here tonight at Phoenix. Side by side throughout the field heading into turn number 1 here. Bottom side definitely where it is at least on new tires. Then we'll see the lane start creeping on up here as, man, deeper in the field. 3, 4, almost 5 wide racing as how will this shake on out here. So far so good for the pack as lap number 1 here in the books as everyone's still trying to figure out where they want to be, what kind of pace they want to run. It's almost contact once again into turn number 1. This is where we'll see it get wild, spread on out, then kind of squeeze back down here on corner exit as one car in the wall. I believe that was a 15 machine of Landon Audit getting a piece there off of turn number 2. As he will be up on the track, a little bit of net code there between Audit and Brandon Guerin. Excuse me, the 4 machine of Tanner Marr. Now Marr getting some help from the 6 car as that 4 machine ping-ponging on around here currently. He will somehow keep that car underneath him. Good driving there, quick on the wheel as Tanner Marr will live to fight another day. As I tell you what, folks, action-packed first couple laps here tonight at Phoenix, and still 3 wide. Elbows out racing here to kick off the night. As point leader, Cody Gibson here in the 7 machine, kind of right in the thick of it as well, trying to get some positions while he can. Remember, he was another one, did not take a qualifying time here tonight, so that 7 and the 4, both of them trying to run up through the field. Same with the 51 machine right behind him, one of the biggest movers. Though the biggest mover here tonight is P number 8 here, Logan Cougar, in that 80 machine. So Cougar, after kind of 2 tough weeks, looking to rebound here tonight as right behind them Brandon Guerin. And I think the 50 machine of Connor also bouncing it off the wall just a little bit. That's where we'll see trouble here tonight, is kind of merging back right here into turn number 1 if someone overdrives their car. And then the toughest spot, of course, coming off of turn number 2, drivers trying to get on that loud pedal, not having the banking to help, and that can either cause the car to kind of push if you don't get the right front set, or if you get on it a little bit too much, give a little bit too much of that gas under that right foot, hey, you could end up facing the wrong direction before you realize it. Once again, a little bit of 3 wide racing action. Oh, 1 car sideways. That is Rick Kennedy off the nose of Cody Gibson. Kennedy will get that car rolling 3 wide here as more contact between the 2 of them down the back straightaway. Woo, man. Like I said, folks, action-packed to kick off the night here tonight at Phoenix, but so far clean. I shouldn't, maybe not clean, but green flag racing here so far. Has a little bit of contact, no one out of sorts, so everyone that has taken the green flag, you know, still out here on track, so got to give these drivers a lot of props with that. Cody Gibson and Scott Simley now going at it. This is pretty deep in the field, so I would expect a pretty easy pass or a pretty quick time, but these guys still side by side here, so neither of them really giving an inch at the time here. And I like to kind of see that here early on in this one. These drivers maybe know track position might be a little bit more important than giving up a little bit of wear and tear on the tires. Up in front, it has been quiet up here. You know, everyone kind of running on around, putting down laps. So top 5 still about the same since the completion of lap number 1 here. Chad Coleman leading the way over Jacob Wilson. Wilson, of course, had a great start here, able to hang on to P number 2 for the time being. Dustin Coggin slide into the podium for the time being, up in P number 3. Steve Ritter in fourth, and then Mike Kelly, he has made his way up through the field into the top 5 here in the 43 machine. Head back a little deeper, heading back to this great battle once again on the speedway. 5 cars under a blanket here at Phoenix. Brandon Guerin once again tagging that outside wall there off of turn number 2. I think that was Johnny Barker that got it more than the one car that time. So Brandon Guerin here will pick back up, it looks like about the 16th position for the time being, as everyone else kind of calming on things down just a little bit here, as no cars at the moment side by side. As I take that back, Scott Simley going to try and make the move on the 87 of Matt Croak. So Croak up top, Simley down low. Simley going to have the preferred line through the corner, but then Croak going to have a better exit there off of turn number 2. Simley going to wrap that bottom side very nicely there through turn number 3 and off of 4. He will complete the pass here, as Cody Gibson will now follow that 33 machine. As further on back, Johnny Barker now trying to get around the 1 car. So Brandon Guerin continuing to slip a little bit here as he gets a tag there in the right rear quarter panel. Man, that could have been bad there, but everyone able to hang on to their race cars, as that is definitely going to keep you on your toes. Woo. As we head back towards the front of the field here, drivers trying different lines, seeing what they have in their race cars. You see the 46 machine Okagan there kind of enter low, wash up the track, and then try and exit on the low side. I do like that move from the 46 machine, as that really kind of focuses on that exit. That is going to be the key here tonight. And then try and make up maybe a little bit of time by entering shallow on that side. As here we go, Coggin now going to take a peek to the inside of Wilson for P number 2. Right behind them, Mike Kelly able to get around Steve Ritter. So now those two may kind of slot in line, see how this battle shakes on out. It looks like Coggin not going to get the exit. Wilson going to be able to defend for the time being. Right now, as we can see, definitely about track position. We'll have to check in, about 20 or so more laps, see if those tires start really falling off these race cars here, as I know fuel definitely limited in this series, so we could see drivers, on the pit road maybe split this race up into thirds every about 40 or so laps, as I think 60 might be stretching it, but we'll have to see how it works on out. Once again, we head back here watching Scott Simley and Cody Gibson trying to work their way through the field here tonight. A few drivers doing it up in front of them, of course, Tanner, Marr, and Ken Kuko. Marr up into 8th, Kuko into the top 10 and 10th. So we're seeing more and more of those drivers that did not qualify trying to work their way up through the field here. But quite a few guys that did qualify, still able to hang on to a pretty good run. I mean, look at the 24 machine of Aiden Tatro. Tatro, of course, picking up his first career win a few weeks back here, and right now running in that 9th position, well inside the top 10, at least for the time being, because behind Ken, a little bit of a gap to Scott Simley, but of course, as we saw, Simley making his way towards the front here. driver we haven't talked too much here tonight about, Larry Bell. Bell now under fire from Tanner Mars. So remember, Larry Bell qualified in the top 5, P number 5, having himself a very good night to kick things off here tonight. Currently hanging on to the P number 8 position. As right behind them now we see the 51 here trying to get around the 24 machine. We'll see both of them kind of cut the dog leg. Of course, the 51 way down there trying to make it as short as possible. So here we go. The 21's going to try and roll the momentum up in that second lane, trying to at least keep to the right rear if he can for that corner exit. Not going to be able to do so, but you can see with that run, able to easily close right back up to the back bumper. But here comes that 33 machine of Simley. As Scott Simley right there will complete the pass there on the 24 machine right in front of them. Ken in that 51 able to pass Larry Bell there in the purple 45. So we have just clicked over here to lap 25. So next time by going to be the last time we'll see triple digits left to go here tonight, as heading up kind of to a driver off the pace just a little bit. Landon Audit, we saw him get into the wall earlier in this one. You can see the damage on the 15 definitely affecting the pace. But then we had the 24 first, Rob Lowell. He is kind of riding on around, managing his stuff, but as you can see right here, in touch with the pack. So everyone, you know, having someone to race around for the most part here tonight. As up towards the front, Mike Kelly now has driven up to P number 2. So last week's winner at Darlington said, hey, you know what, I like this place as well. Showing an on-off, has driven up to second, but might have one of his toughest customers up ahead. Chad Coleman has led the first 26 laps here, has not looked on back, but we'll see what kind of pace the front two can run. Wilson, though, hanging on to P number 3, as Coggin, though, still hounding the back bumper. Hasn't quite been able to figure out how to get around the 87, and you hear the motto all the time, especially in racing. It's one thing to catch another driver. It's a whole another ball game to try and get up besides them and then complete the pass here. As here we go once again, some cars duking it on out. Looks like this could be shaking on up to about a 5-car battle here. It's 3 wide for a second there into turn number 1. Larry Bell here trying to hold off a hungry group of cars. First being led here by Cody Gibson. Gibson will complete the pass, or at least try to, into turn number 1. Man, Brandon Guerin, you saw there that one car kind of shoot across the track there. That's maybe using your high side brake markers on the bottom, and that car is just going to take on off from underneath you. But he is starting to pick back up the pace here, so maybe trying to ride on around, take care of his stuff, and now starting to use up a little bit more of the juice in the tires. As here we go, Tanner Marr, Logan Cougar here battling on out here. This is a battle for the 6th position, as Marr able to get around on the high side, so move that 4 car here up to P number 6. As now the 51 and the 33 going to try and do the same as quickly as possible here. As a little bit deeper in the field, the 24 and the 25 machine side by side. Same for the battle for 4th now, as Steve Ritter taking a peek to the inside of Dustin Coggin. So here we go, battle for 4th on the speedway. Ritter always kind of trying to keep touch with the cars in front of him, and it looks like now the 83 machine of Jacob Wilson starting to walk on away, so I wonder if the tires may be starting to go a little bit from the 46, or if some drivers starting to push the envelope just that little bit more. As from what I can tell, if people starting to turn up the dial around lap 33, that tells me trying to split this race in half if they can, make it to right around that lap 60, 62, 65 mark, and then running on out from there, but we'll have to see if that is truly the case. As Logan Cougar for the moment going to hold off the 51 machine. Now here comes Scott Simley, going to try and get on around. Looks like on the high side going to be able to complete the pass here, as now Simley going to try and set up the 80 here into turn number 1. And Simley will drive it in there deep, get that car rolled on up, have it still stick to the bottom. Very impressive, but here comes the tough part, putting down the power here, and Simley going to keep to the inside. That's going to be the key. Going to have the better line here into turn number 3, and here off of 4 going to be able to slide on up. So Simley up to P number 7 is Cougar, though not giving it up that easy. Going to try and cross over here into turn number 1. So Cougar now down on the low side, Simley up top. Logan gonna hang it on out, get a little bit loose, but he doesn't lift in that one. So now we'll see how the 80 can get through on the bottom side, and just has to wait a little bit too long to get back in the throttle. So Simley gonna be able to defend. That tells me one thing there: if the 33 can handle both the top and the bottom, that tells me that 33 has a little bit better handling tires underneath that race car for the time being. Speaking about a good handling race car here, our race leader Chad Coleman has led all of the laps so far here tonight, last time by a 28.97, whereas Mike Kelly here last time by a 28.86, so about a tenth of a lap quicker. That's at least good for the 43 machine, though. We'll have to do that lap after lap to have maybe a shot here right before the pit stop cycle will take onto account. As here we go now, Tanner Marr now looking to get into the top 5 here tonight, as the 4 car will take a peek to the inside of the 46. Also deeper in the field, George Letzma and Larry Bell duking it out for the 16th position, as Coggin going to try and defend this spot for as long as possible. He knows track positions, where it's at here, and whatever he's got left in the tires, going to try and use them on up for the time being, because he knows once he gets, off the pace just a little bit, there's about, 4 cars right behind him. As Scott Simley will take advantage of Tanner Marr trying to get around the 46 here, as Simley not able to close the door though on Marr. Here comes the 4 machine with the momentum, and that shows you it's kind of a little bit of a chess game right now. Do you want to step out of line, kill that momentum just that little bit, and could get freight trained by 2-3 cars if you're not careful? As Tanner Marr will hang on to that 6th position for the time being, but will slide way up the racetrack here through 3 and 4. Marr, one of the first cars here, starting to test out the waters in that kind of middle to really top side in 3 and 4. That can start to come in, but here tonight with no caution yet, Marble's rubber building up on that top lane, so it's going to be a few laps to try and get it rocking and rolling. We'll see if he can afford a few laps up there, as Scott Simley once again to the inside. Simley and Marr there almost trade some paint off of turn number 2, but still heads up, good racing between the two of them. And it looks like Simley now able to get clear, so now Scott Simley could maybe set his sights on the 46 here. If the 4 car here doesn't try, sail something in here. Tanner Marr in there deep. Tanner Marr up the racetrack. He will get into the side of Simley, and now allow Logan Cougar to get on by. So That's what I say right there, man. An aggressive move kind of gone wrong as Tanner Martin now shuffled back all the way to 9th, maybe 10th. Wow. Now I see why people were using up their stuff for that track position, as here Dustin Coggin kind of off the pace heading to pit road. It looks like the 46 machine down to pit road. Not sure if this is a scheduled stop or not, but we will keep an eye on that. Looks like it might be some drivers here been on the earlier side. I like that call, splitting this race up into thirds. As also Larry Bell, Aiden Tatro down on pit road. Looks like Rob Lowe was down to pit road about lap 32, so he was definitely the first. As we head back to this battle here, once again in that 5th to about 10th position. As Cody Gibson able to get around that 51 machine of Ken Kuko. And back here to a battle for, it looks like the 9th position, the 50 machine of Connor Dudek and Brandon Guerin in the 1. So, like we saw Guerin kind of slip on back, maybe trying to save some of those tires as the 50 machine able to try and hang on to that position. But Brandon Guerin on the bottom side trying to work on around. Also, sorry about that there, folks. I guess about the first, 45 laps, may have had a little bit extra on the screen. The Riptide Radio not wanting to come on off, so apologize about that. Now we have the full tower here on the left side of your screen. Like we said, haven't missed too much. Has been all green flag racing here tonight. Starting to kick off green flag pit stops here as we see another taker, the 87 machine of Matt Croak. And it looks like by the time you get back onto the track, if you can time it right, it looks like should lose about, just one lap, as we got a few cars here down on pit road for extended time. Aiden Tatro, Tanner Marr, Rob Blow, all kind of coming on in, being multiple laps down. So trouble for at least 3 cars here, but of course have been green flag racing this first 50 here. But out in front, Chad Coleman has led all 50 laps so far here tonight. As we head to a battle here on track, it's only for 6th position, but in the bigger scheme of things, it matters a lot more. Cody Gibson and Logan Cougar battling for 1st and 2nd in points, so those guys probably going to race each other a little bit harder here on lap 50 than, someone else out on the speedway. Oh, as we get our first caution here of the evening, and it looks like it may have involved, yes it did, the 87 machine of Matt Croak. So we'll take a look here, see what drew out the first caution here, and the drivers that did not pit, this is going to work out very well for them, as they will be able to get some fresh tires here under the caution condition, whereas everyone else a lap down, going to have to try and take the wave around in this one. So let's take a look here, see what happened to bring out our first caution. Remember, Matt just off of pit road here, so fresh tires on that 87, going to be cold, going to be slick, and it looks like Matt just a little bit too early into the throttle. The back end just going to step out behind that 87 machine. Looks like Gonna send it to kind of a nice safe slide here on the front straightaway, and that will bring out our first caution as here we go down on pit road here. Everyone on the lead lap down on pit road. So 4 tires full service for everyone here in the field. Looks like it was Chad Coleman the first off of pit road here, then Scott Simley, Steve Ritter, Logan Cougar, and Ken Kuko rounding out the top 5. So a little bit of shakeup there on pit road, but Scott Simley getting away with a great stop there. The 43 machine of Mike Kelly. A long pit stop, and that gives me the sign that he did speed on pit road. So Mike Kelly from P number 2 gonna start deep in this one here on the restart. As you know, we still have 17 cars on the lead lap here. As we see Matt Croak here getting the wave round, same with Rob Lowell. We'll take Larry Bell here calling it a night. So Larry Bell, Tanner Marr, Aiden Tatro out of this one right now. But the first caution here tonight happening, on lap 50, 1-car incident. So we will head back and get ready for green flag race in the field. Doubled on up the pace car off the racing surface, and then the field has a long pace here to turn number 1 where the restart zone is. On the front row, of course, Chad Coleman, our race leader, going to be in control. Also on the front row, the 33 machine of Scott Simley. Simley had some good long run pace. What can he do with some clean air out in front of him as we head back to green flag racing? Chad Coleman, once again, a great restart there as he is shot out of a cannon by himself. Side by side though for second, because here comes Steve Ritter in that 61 machine. 2x2, 2 rows deep off of turn number 2. Not the same case into turn number 3. They will get quickly single filed out here in the top 5. Have a few cars bouncing it off the wall there off of turn number 4. One being the 6 machine of Johnny Barker. Has some good battles here going on in the mid-pack. Has a few cars with a not so great stop there. Jacob Wilson, he is starting deep in this one. Same with the car in front of him, the 7 machine of Cody Gibson. Right behind them, Mike Kelly trying to make his way up through the field. As the 43 machine trying to get around the 67 of George Letzma. Letzma going to keep that car glued to the paint. Kelly going to be able to complete the pass there off of turn number 2. As up towards the front here, single filed on out. Everyone trying to run the right pace. We'll see if anyone can try and stretch the field to the end. It's going to be a tall task, but we'll see if anyone's up for it. As we saw a pretty chaotic start here, the first restart of the night. Not as chaotic, at least for the time being. As Steve Ritter will defend that bottom side there from Ken Kuko. Kuko going to try and late apex it, get the run off, but here comes Connor Dudek there in the 50 machine. As Dudek will take a peek to the inside into turn number 1. Side by side now for that 5th position. That is for a top 5 spot. as the 51 machine of Ken able to hang on to it, and now we'll try and look to the inside of Steve Ritter. So it looks like the 51 just going to be able to clear, and he will sail it in there deep, make it stick. Ritter might say, hey, you know what, that pace pushing in the tires a little bit more than I would like. As up for second, man, Logan Cougar putting a lot of pressure on Simley. Not sure if there was contact, but Simley way up the racetrack. Here comes Logan Cougar now for P number 2. As Cougar will be able to complete the pass there, so a nice move from the 80 machine. As Cougar up to P number 2, the best he has run here tonight so far. As Simley now under fire a little bit from the 51. Cougar right on the back bumper, going to pull that car low through the dog leg. As Simley, though, driving it in there deep, going to try and hang on to that P number 3 spot. A little bit deeper in the field. These two making contact earlier in the night. Contact here, big time contact, as Cody Gibson into the inside wall hard. And right before the halfway point, we get our second caution of the night. And points leader Cody Gibson gonna have another tough night here, and he will be out of this one. I mean, looking at Gibson's, last couple races, an 8th at Talladega, that will do pretty nicely. But then, of course, last week at Darlington, a tough week. Gibson will finish 17th, and here tonight might be done here about the 18th position. As let's take a look one more time here. Remember, these two making contact earlier in the night, and then here tonight, the 7 and the 10 get together once again, as Cody Gibson definitely on the worst end of that one. As, Rick Kennedy not giving Gibson any sort of room into the left rear there. And then Gibson, of course, a big impact to that inside wall there. And let's see, does Kennedy hang on to that 10 machine, as that thing was big time sideways. It looks like, for the most part, big time sawing on it. Everyone doing a great job at some heads up racing. To not get in that 10 machine, but the 7 of Cody Gibson going to be done for the night in kind of dramatic fashion, as our points leader going to lose out on a few more points here at the end of this one. As looks like, Cody Gibson not in the infield care center, at least out from it. So while we are under caution flag, we will go to a quick commercial break over our partners here at Premier Setup Shops, as we get ready here to turn them back loose here right at the halfway point here at Phoenix. Alrighty, folks, we head back here at Phoenix for the Valley of the Sun 150, as once again we get ready for our second restart of the night. Here once again, Chad Coleman in control, going to be able to fire off anytime inside this restart box. Logan Cougar on the outside. We'll see what kind of restart he can get, but it seemed like not the place to be here on restarts. We'll see if Scott Simley can get back P number 2, as once again, Chad Coleman away with a great start, as the field will dive down into turn number 1 once again. Side by side for second, and Simley has a shorter distance. Cougar's going to have the better run off here. Cougar, though, gets the wall. That will shoot Simley down the racetrack. As you got to wonder, do either of those race cars have some damage from that contact? But for the time being, they will hang on to second and third. Maybe not for long, because here comes a 51 machine. Ken Kugro, biggest mover of the race so far. If he can complete this pass for third, he will be up 18 spots. As Heads Up Racing here for that third position, though, at the start finish line for the field, we see cross flags here tonight, halfway down, halfway home here in the Valley of the Sun, 150 at Phoenix. Also, a little bit of a fun fact, race number 15 of the schedule, so I believe if it's not, it is dang close to the halfway point of the season here. As it looks like for the time being, Scott Simley going to be able to defend that position. A few drivers here trying to make their way back up through the field. Dustin Coggin and Jacob Wilson. Remember, Coggin had to take the wave round, so had to start deep in the field. I believe may have come down for some tires, so tire advantage to the 46 as he will try and make them to the best of his ability used on up here as he is back into the top 10 as looks like Scott Simley going to have the advantage on Logan Cougar, but still side-by-side racing for P number 2. Saw Simley defend third there, get a big run, take advantage of it with a kind of inside dive into turn number 3 for second. Here we go, Simley has the advantage once again. He will lead into turn number 3. Usually then that inside car can clear, but right here off of 4, it is close. As there we go though, Cougar will just bounce it off the wall. That's enough for that 33 machine to get up to P number 2 here tonight. As everyone else kind of single filed out for the time being, as let's ride on board with Dustin Coggin with those kind of fresher tires. That's got to be always a good feeling for a driver as we ride on board with the 46 machine here for a few laps at Phoenix. And we can see here right on board with Dustin Coggin there. I mean, able to carry just that little bit more center speed, and that makes all the difference with those fresh tires here. Right behind them, Mike Kelly trying to get back up to that second position. He was able to do that during that first run. Still trying to climb his way back here after that first caution. Remember, Kelly, one of those drivers with kind of a longer pit stop here. So I believe everyone in the field, for the most part, has one more stop here tonight. Coggin, though, hoping this run goes green to the end, because when he use up those tires, use up to those full ability, he does not want to see a caution kind of in the next, 10 to 20 laps. He wants to leave it about 25 to go, where everyone has to come on in at that point and take a set with him. As Coggin now up to P number 4, Ritter feeling a little bit optimistic, wanted to shoot to the inside of the 51, had to back out of it big time. And that opens up the door now for the 50 as well as the 43 here. As 3 wide here through turns 1 and 2. How will this shake on out? Looks like Mike Kelly and the 50 of Connor Dudek both able to get around Steve Ritter. So Ritter, one of those 2 drivers that we can chat with here after the race. Even if they don't finish up on the podium, that is of course to chat with them about their Darlington race and their race here tonight. The other being our race leader has led every single lap here tonight. Chad Coleman out here trying to put on a clinic here from Phoenix. As here we go, battle for second. Dustin Coggin looking for his best position of the night up to P number 3 with that alternate strategy. He's the only driver on it and so far making it work for that 46. As like I said, he is hoping this race goes green flag here to the end. We head back to that battle 4-6 here as Mike Kelly, Connor Dudek still side by side. A great battle here as those cars pretty much even on this racetrack here. As not quite there off of turn number 4. It looks like Mike Kelly finally able to complete the pass there. Like I said, still 17 cars here on the lead lap. Matthew broke the last car on the lead lap. Rob Lowell now, I believe, 2 laps down, so 2 more cautions. That 21 machine could get back on the lead lap here tonight. As here we go, 1 car in the outside wall. That's a 51 machine of Ken Kuko, as he will just graze it as Mike Kelly to the inside here. Mike Kelly making that pass there pretty easily, pretty quickly. So now Kelly will set his sights on the 80 of Logan Cougar. But Kelly back into the top 5 here tonight. Now under 50 laps left in this one. Brandon Guerin and Jacob Wilson, kind of a quiet night so far after that first pit stop here, but those guys hanging on to the top 10 or just behind it here. So these guys, I think, saving some more tire than the cars right in front of them. So we may start to see, this 83 in this one, and even, the 661. I like all 4 of those cars as long run pace here, as we can see them start to try and charge back up through the field. As here we go, Brandon Guerin and Jacob Wilson side by side. Wilson up in that kind of third groove here through turn number 4. Brandon Guerin doing a nice job wrapping that bottom side, and Brandon Guerin here into the top 10 now, as he will try and set up Johnny Barker into the back of Barker. Brandon Guerin with some wheel hop that car sideways. Wow, that was definitely close. As now here comes Mike Kelly to try and get P number 4 away from Logan Cougar. Kelly having to slam on the binders to not get into the side of the 80 machine. Cougar doing a good job there, just giving enough gap, nothing more to the 43 machine. As Brandon Guerin trying to re-rack Johnny Barker, try and set him back up for a pass here. As this time by Chad Coleman. Now we'll see about 40 to go here tonight. So we are getting ever so closer to that countdown clock here. As that of course comes out with about 25 laps left in this one. As here Mike Kelly still putting a lot of pressure here on the 80 machine of Logan Cougar. That's right on board with Logan Cougar looking on back. And you can see right there looking back to this battle here, I mean, you can use any lane you'd kind of like, and that's one of the kind of nice things about Phoenix here at the nighttime is that this track is really, really racy, especially with these cars with kind of the lack of downforce and the power they have. It makes for a really, really fun combination. Out in front, though, it has been the Chad Coleman show. This time by will be about 35 laps left in this one. A driver, though, that has kind of matched his pace. Scott Simley doing a great job battling it up through the field here tonight. He has driven up into second, and he has kind of checked on out. Then we head to third, Dustin Coggin. Coggin, of course, with the alternate strategy. Last pitted on 62, where the rest of the field last pitted on 52, making those newer sets of tires work well for him. Up in third, Logan Cougar trying to hang on to fourth from Mike Kelly right behind him now to the inside. Side-by-side contact between the two of them. So we saw them side-by-side once before here tonight. This time, elbows out between the two of them, as it looks like the 51 going to give the 80 a little shot there going into turn number 3. As Mike Kelly now back up into fourth here, Cougar going to try and hang on to the top 5 for as long as possible. Like I said, I think there is still one more pit stop for the field ahead of him. The question is, when is that right time to come on down? But before we get that pit stop cycle, what do we say? We do a little turn 3, turn it up here tonight from Phoenix. We head back here to Phoenix Raceway with about now 30 to go. Out in front, Chad Coleman leading the way over Scott Simley. Right now, both of them about dead even lap time. Simley has yet to let Coleman get out over a second in front of him, so pretty good there. As here we go, we got a battle now for third. Mike Kelly trying to track down Dustin Coggin to the inside of the 46 here. As it's a heads-up drag race here down the back straightaway. As Mike Kelly will fire it off in there deep, make it stick for the time being. Couldn't quite move fully on up, as Coggin will keep his foot in it. He will try and keep the momentum and do just that here into turn number 1. Coggin having the further distance to travel. Does he try the crossover with the run here down the back straightaway? He will take a peek, but it looks like he will fall in line. So Mike Kelly up on the podium here for the time being. Kelly, I think one of those drivers Actually, he was not one of those drivers that came down to top off on fuel, so he still has the same fuel load as the rest of the field. As yeah, it looks like Jacob Wilson here got stuck in traffic, hasn't been able to make his way back up towards the front here. Now getting some pretty good pressure here from the 25 machine of Ron Holyfield. Holyfield now on the back bumper there of the 83 machine. So I say we can ride on board here with the roof cam of the, let's say even the 10 car, Rick Kennedy right there in the mix as well. So riding on board with the 10 car of Rick Kennedy. As this time by, we will now see 25 laps left in this one and head to the countdown clock here at Phoenix. You can see Holyfield there get a good run, able to run that middle line, get that car to exit a little bit lower. Now takes a peek to the inside of the 83 machine. Holyfield surprisingly there doesn't cut the dog leg too much at all, so they will stay in line, it looks like, for maybe a little bit longer for the time being. George Ledsma now starting to get into this battle as well, so he's right there in the mix. Bryson Anderson hanging on to top 15 here tonight, and 15th the Matt Crow after the spin here, still back in P number 16. Logan Cougar starting to lose maybe a little bit of pace there on the 80 machine. Once again, a little bit of a tap there from the 51, as Cougar last time by was a 29 about 1.7, that time by a 29.13, so maybe about a tenth or a half a tenth, but here, especially with the long green flag runs, that can add up pretty quickly over quite a few laps. As we can see here in this battle, about 4 cars right under a blanket, them right behind them, Johnny Barker, Brandon Guerin sits. Looks like our first taker though on pit road here. Jacob Wilson going to be the first to come on down with about 21 laps left in this one. I was going to say another kind of 4-car battle, broken up a little bit there by the 83 pin, but the other kind of battle was this Ron Holyfield, Rick Kennedy, George Ledsma now. As Logan Cougar, if I'm the 80 machine here, I know I could get a good chunk of points once again here tonight. Want to try and maximize it, but knowing that maybe the pace starting to fall away just a little bit, I want to be one of the first cars down to pit road here if we are in fact short on fuel. Fuel is definitely going to be close here, as we see now the 51 machine now to the inside of Cougar. Cougar we've seen pretty tough to pass here tonight. Looks like not going to make it easy here for the 51 as well, as he will keep his foot in it, get back clear. That opens up the door for the 50 machine here of Connor Dudek. Dudek gonna try and get there. Kuko gonna slide him, gonna block the top side. Here comes the 50 though with the crossover. He will have the preferred lane here into turn number 3. Able to keep the car kind of pinned on down there nicely, and a heads up drag race here. We'll see the 50 kind of cut that dog like we've seen so many times here tonight. And right now dead even into turn number 1. So great battle for that 6th position. Going to be won this time by the 50 machine. And excuse me, the 51 machine. And with the 50 machine, like we saw, just a little bit off the pace, lost just that little bit of momentum. It's enough now for Steve Ritter to give his hand at trying to get a pass completed here late in this one. And this is why we saw right from the drop of the green flag, people kind of pushing, trying to keep that track position, as we see passing coming at a premium here tonight at Phoenix. Quite a few cars there getting a piece of the wall, maybe. I think most of them just brushing it, but quite a few of them there making contact with it, trying to get as much as they can out of the racetrack here late in this one. This time we will see 15 to go, and one car that hasn't had to worry about getting shuffled in the field, passing other cars, has been our race leader, has led every single lap so far here tonight, with now only 15 to go. We head back to this great 4-car battle here once again. Best battle on the racetrack. Looking at it here as we head atop here in the stand. So we get the fan cam here tonight at Phoenix, looking at these 4 cars. The white and green 80 machine, the black and yellow 51, the pink and black 50, and that red and black 61 here. And you can see just how spread out this field has gotten here tonight. Dustin Coggin kind of sits kind of close. You can see Mike Kelly way off in the distance, but you know, Chad Coleman kind of checking on out. We'll take a look here at the track map as well, just to get a visual, as well as this kind of always a little bit goofy looking Phoenix Raceway. But hey, I always like a good goofy looking racetrack, as that brings character and keeps drivers on their toes for each and every corner. And we can see this battle here, you know, even if we want to include Dustin Coggin, from about Coggin all the way through 13th of Rick Kennedy, that whole battle going on, you know, within about 7 seconds of each other. So as we see there, almost 10 cars within 10 seconds of each other. That can always produce some decent racing and, you know, drama always kind of going on around here. As here we go once again, and putting some pressure here on Logan for that 5th position. Jacob Wilson here trying to get back up through the field. That 83 machine on new tires, so we should be able to see him get kind of pick and choose his way up through. But here this time by at the start finish line, we will see 2 open palms from the flagman. It is now 10 to go here tonight at Phoenix. So Logan Cougar, that car definitely loose on entry. That tells me one thing, that car needing some rear brake bias, maybe not turning how he would like, as he is trying to get it to turn on the right rear on corner entry. And that's one of the few adjustments a driver can make, especially on a fixed setup. It pretty much comes down to steering ratio and brake bias. Everything else is locked on down. You can adjust. It keeps the racing as even and kind of as equal as possible. As one car in the wall here. Not sure if it was Brandon Guerin or Johnny Barker, but one of those 2 cars got a big piece of the wall there through 1 and 2 last time by. I believe it may have been the 6th car of Johnny Barker, as that thing definitely having some right rear quarter damage. That thing may be a little bit off the pace here with 8 circuits left in this one. So with people making it this far, that tells me they are trying to make it here on fuel. Trying to make it to the end of this one now with 7 circuits left in this one. As now Ron Holyfield, Johnny Barker dueling it on out. Barker trying to nurse home that wounded race car to a top 10 here, as he will have to try and hold off the 25 because this is a battle for the 10th position. Right in front of them, Steve Ritter taking a peek to the inside of Dudek. Dudek going to be able to hang on for the time being, as these two put on a great battle here late into this race, side by side, still out here on the racetrack. As it looks like this time by Chad Coleman, we'll now see just 5 laps left in this one here tonight. It looks like Johnny Barker going to lose that 10th position here late in this one. We'll see if he has anything left in the tank to try and run back down that 25 machine. But out in front, man, has it been a clinic here tonight. Chad Coleman trying to go flag to flag here in this one. Was able to walk away with the pole. Has the most laps led here tonight. Trying to sweep the night here and walk away with the checkered flag. He has just got to see that white flag, because once that's the case, once we take the white flag, we are racing back to the checkered no matter what happens. So Chad Coleman just hoping and praying he sees that white flag and that caution flag doesn't fly in these next 3 laps. Like I said, Chad Coleman, he has been on a tear. Finished 3rd last week. Then Talladega, a little bit of a shakeup. That always is an X factor. But then the week before, Indianapolis, he won at. Texas, runner-up. Bristol, he won at. Pocono, he won at. And here tonight, he is looking to do the same as that time by. We saw popsicle sticks up in the air. It is 2 to go. And now down this backstretch here, Chad Coleman in that 38 machine. He will be the first to see the white. The white flag is waving here, and we will take the white flag. We are racing back to the checkered. Chad Coleman looking to put together the perfect night here at Phoenix. Deeper in the field here, everyone's still running their respectable places here. No one quite close enough for a late race dive bomb. But through 3 and 4 here for the final time, Chad Coleman will pick up yet another win here this season. Chad Coleman wins tonight here at Phoenix, and it is now career win number 4, tying him for the most this season. Scott Simley will bring it home in second. Mike Kelly will round out the podium. We will be chatting with those top 3, as well as Steve Ritter here tonight. But I tell you what, it has been the Chad Coleman show here, and he is now going to have the best part of the night here and celebrate it on the front stretch here at Phoenix. As Chad Coleman here will burn it on down and celebrate a great run here tonight at Phoenix. As maybe doing the alternate, gonna park it there, not abuse the motor. I like the call, as we will go to a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back here with our post-race show.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here at Phoenix Raceway. First driver we'll be talking to here tonight. He was on the podium last week during the race replay broadcast, so got to get a quick word with him. He brought it home 8th here tonight. It is the 61 of Steve Ritter. Steve, do you got a copy of Brett the Jet in the booth here?
I do, Brett. What's happening?
Oh, man, it's going pretty good. Man, a heck of a race here tonight, as well as a heck of a race for you last week at Darlington. I mean, both pretty tricky tracks and, you know, both top 10 finishes, of course, last week up on the podium. How you feel, my man?
Pretty good. I mean, obviously last week was a little bit better. We had a good car last week and just couldn't get that number one spot. But tonight was good. Really good race for Phoenix. I was surprised we didn't have more yellows. So that was really good. Long run just didn't work out. The car just got tight. 25 laps in, and it just wouldn't turn the way I wanted it to. So I'm a little disappointed, but I'll take a top 10.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I tell you what, Steve, you were in the mix of a battle. It seemed like all night long. It seemed like that battle from, 4th through even, sometimes 13th, man. Elbows out, hard fought racing. But I tell you what, it had to be pretty fun behind the wheel as well.
It was fun in that regard because, yeah, we were pretty much always racing tonight. Generally, you can get into a little area where you can just kind of lay some laps down, get into a groove, and that didn't seem to be the case tonight. You're right.
Yeah, I tell you what, Darlington, though, last week, a very, very tough track. And I know you, my man, always enjoy a long run on an old set of tires. Darlington punishes them. And I tell you what, you had some great pace there. What's the key to that place in your mind, especially in these tough, I guess now O'Reilly's cars or the B cars?
I would say just consistency. It's a lot of guys want to go out and just, go. And a place like Darlington or even here, I was burning up the right front tonight. And I think just that pace, you got to find that pace that's going to keep you up front. Maybe not in the lead, but top 5, top 10, where you're in an area with 20 to go to, possibly go for the win. But just keeping that constant lap after lap after lap and being steady.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you are one of the definitions of being steady, up in the top 5 in points. Another great night, like we said here tonight. Off next week, and then I believe we're off next week, and then come back to North Wilkesboro. How you feeling about that place? Because that's another place, man. It's all about hitting your marks there.
Yeah, I gotta look at my work schedule. I work for a roofing company, and if you couldn't tell from my sponsor, but we have two seasons in roofing. We have actual roofing season and we have training season. And right now we are in training season. So I'm gonna be in Indianapolis all next week, and then but we're off, so it doesn't matter. But the following week I've got to be back in Indy. I just don't know what days yet. So hopefully I make that race.
Yeah, hopefully you're able to make the show. Always love seeing the 61 machine out here. So once again, congrats on a great run last week. Another good run here tonight. And before we let you go, Steve, we got to, of course, hand the mic over to you and have you thank who you got to thank for that runner-up finish last week at Darlington.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all my teammates, Rob, Johnny, Eli, Nick, we all practice together and they drive me to get better. Bone Dry Roofing, obviously, they came on board this year, sponsor the car. And you guys, obviously, everyone that does this, that admins behind the scenes, there's a lot of work that goes into this. And I don't think guys realize that, even from the broadcast perspective. I'm never broadcasted before, but I'm sure you do a lot of work behind the scenes. So just appreciate everything everybody does to let us do this.
Alrighty, well, appreciate it, Steve, and thank you for all the work you do, and as well as being part of the racing product and giving us some good racing that we get to watch and enjoy here on Friday nights.
Thanks, Brett. Have a good night, buddy.
All right, you as well, Steve. That was our 8th place finisher, but was runner-up finisher last week at Darlington. Now we'll go to our podium finishers here tonight. The first driver we will be talking to is the 43 machine of Mike Kelly. Mike, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, I gotcha.
All righty, man. First and foremost, 150 laps. I should say 125 laps here done and over with at Phoenix. How you feeling after it?
Whew, that was a long one. And after I had my brain fart on pit road, it made it even worse. So a little worn out mentally and physically after that one. Plus, I think I just told Chad that he won. So when you that race that you're going to interview him for, so trick him and make him think he won, even though I did.
There we go. Well, yeah, Mike, we got to go back, talk about the beginning part of your race. Qualified kind of deeper in the field. We didn't see you up on that front row here tonight. Started 9th, able to make your way up to 2nd. And then, yeah, what happened on pit road as well?
Well, the qualifying thing was because they didn't change the 1-lap qualifying from Talladega. So most of us went out to try to run our fast lap on the 2nd lap, and we threw away our 1st lap, and that was the only lap we had. So that's what happened there. I was lucky to even get a lap in. A lot of people hit the wall or did whatever, on their 1st lap and didn't get any laps counted. Scott stopped before the start finish line. I mean, he was just cruising around anyway. It would have been a terrible lap, but so that was a mess. It got me behind the 8 ball, but was able to get back up through the field pretty easily that first time. And then this dang pit road, it's tricky, and I didn't know where it was exactly, and it was right on the corner, coming around the corner. So when they said it was coming up with my A-pillar blocking it, I couldn't see my sign, and I just barely missed my stall. Then I backed up, and I didn't back up far enough. I thought I was in the grabbed my pop right after thought I got in the stall, grabbed my pop, looked forward, and it still wasn't changing my tires yet. So at that point, I figured because we were in a fuel mileage pinch right there because of that at that time. We were really close on gas. So since I screwed up the pit stop, I just decided I'd come back in and top it off. And if we wouldn't have had a yellow there, it might have helped me, but everybody was just about out of gas there at the end. But that one yellow kind of got everybody to the finish. It would have been really close if we wouldn't have had that yellow flag. So I tried to recover and pull a fast one, but it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out, but still able to drive up through the field once again to P number 3. And I tell you what, it seemed like passing was very tough here tonight. You had your work cut out for you to get back through that field.
It was really hard. I mean, as you could see when I was coming back up through the field, or anybody for that matter, trying to get around someone, especially if they were shifting. So at one point, well, I couldn't shift the whole second run because I had to save fuel, but I shifted most of the first run, but only in 3 and 4. But then as I was trying to work my way back up to the front, a couple of those guys were shifting in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which I don't know how they made it to the end without running out of fuel doing that, to be honest with you. But it made it almost impossible to pass them because, as you'd see, if someone who was faster, they'd get around them. I'd spend 5-6 laps trying to get around someone. Then as soon as you'd pass them, you'd put a couple seconds on them right away. So it's one of those deals where you needed to be almost a half second a lap faster just to get around someone.
Yeah, and I kind of even got that vibe right from the green flag because it seemed like everyone was pushing their stuff there pretty early. And I said, oh man, I guess track position night's going to be the premium. And Mike, you didn't have too much of that here, but I tell you what, it still worked out for you nicely.
Yeah, it was a fun race. definitely had a. It was funny when Scotty had, because he didn't get any qualifying in. He was really funny. He's pretty quiet on the microphone, but tonight trying to come up through that pack and pass people, he was pretty vocal. And then I was laughing at him, and then I had to do the same thing after I screwed up my pit stop, and he was like, "Ha ha, you're going through what I went through now." So it was a lot of fun and had a good turnout. So only one caution. It was a great race, really.
Yeah, that it was. And I tell you what, that battle for anyone, it seemed like between that 13th, through the top three, man, it seemed like elbows out, dogfighting for every single position.
Yeah, that's what's fun about Phoenix. It's really kind of, even though it's a mile, it's kind of a short track, just like Iowa Speedway, 7/8. They're racy and they race like a short track, but they got a lot of speed and you can door bang a little bit if you have to. There's two good grooves, and you really got to work hard for every position. So it's crazy out there, but it's one of those tracks where you're just sometimes you just like, what am I doing? But it's a challenge because it's a technical track and it's a hard track to pass too. So you really gotta, like you said, elbows up the whole run.
Yeah, that you were. And here tonight, Mike, able to walk away with a P number three. So once again, congrats on that. Add another top five finish there to your stats, and always a good time chatting with you. So, Mike, before we let you go and celebrate a podium finish here at Phoenix, we're going to go hand over the mic to you one last time and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast.
Yeah, shout out to Hot Wheels for coming on board for tonight's race, changing up the look a little bit, trying to keep petty themes going. So I threw away the Sim 500 Ford tonight and brought the Toyota out. Got that super rolling, looking pretty good on the track. Shout out to Scotty for having a good run, coming from the back and getting on the podium for the Turn 1 Heroes. Good night, second and third for the Heroes. Shout out to Chad. I picked him on the podcast tonight because I didn't feel right about picking myself, and I would have been wrong anyway. So good for me for picking Chad, and he ran a good smooth race. Neither Scott nor I really had anything for him, so he had us all covered. And shout out to you for putting on the broadcast. This will be a fun one to watch. Shout out to the league and the admins, and of course the smoking hot wife.
Alrighty, awesome stuff, Mike. Well, you have yourself a great rest of the week. I think we'll be off next week and then come back in 2 weeks' time at North Wilkesboro. So you, my man, take care, and I'm sure we'll be talking again here in the near future.
Yep, I appreciate it. Happy Super Bowl and Daytona weekends coming up, and we'll see you in a few.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. You take care. That was our third place finisher, Mike Kelly. Getting ready, like he said, Super Bowl, Daytona 500. A lot of exciting stuff coming on up. But now we got to head up to now our runner-up finisher. That being the 33 machine of Scott Simley. Scott, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
You there, Brett?
Alrighty, man, we got you as well. First and foremost, how you feeling after 125 laps here at Phoenix?
Yeah, back sweating a little bit. It was a lot of fun. I needed that caution with the with way qualifying, but we only had one lap instead of two, so I was taking it easy my first lap, and I'm sure a lot of others were too. But yeah, so starting at the back, but I needed that caution to come out. But man, battling that traffic was fun, but it was a workout.
Yeah, that it was. It seemed like track position here tonight, a premium passing, very, very difficult. And Scott, I tell you what, you were in the thick of it, especially for a lot of tonight in that battle, 13th through about third. Man, that was intense for a while.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then once teammate Mike, he had trouble with the pit stop and had to go to the back, and it was really close on fuel. I'm sure he said that too. Then that last restart when I was racing around Logan, I think it was, and I was trying to, because I don't have a crew chief, and I knew it was close, so I was trying to monitor that because it seems like downshifting in three later in the run seems to help with the runoff and even in the corner, and kind of monitoring that to see what the status was, and just racing hard against him and not being able just to kind of tuck in and ride behind Chad for a while. So that didn't help. And then me and Logan, I think, bounced. He got into the wall and bounced off me a little bit, but I don't think I got any damage. And then we just kind of rode, but Chad had me covered. I had him probably in 3 and 4. It seemed like we were talking, time wise, but I think I was burning my stuff up a little more than him, so that was probably the difference there. But he had me covered. Congrats to him, and it was still a good race. A lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd seem like a lot of fun. I'm sure action packed for you. And I mean, how different did that car feel? Because it looked like these cars built tight here tonight. So I assume it felt a lot different, from that dirty air being stuck in the pack the whole run versus the kind of flip side of that, the second half of the race for you being in mostly that clean air here.
Yeah, it does make quite a bit of difference. And then, I really couldn't just run my line that first run when we went, because I had to, bear down and try to get some positions. And a lot of people were just going to take that bottom line. So I even had to pass some on the outside, which works. Um, but it's still tough. It's really tough to pass in every position. The next one kept getting harder. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun tonight. Good group of guys. It wasn't, we didn't have a full crowd, but it's pretty good, and still a lot of fun.
Yeah, that it was. And, coming into Phoenix, your last time you're up on the podium was Texas. How were you feeling about this track coming into tonight? Were you feeling pretty good about it, or was this worked out pretty good when it's all said and done?
Yeah, Phoenix is pretty good for me. I really like the old Phoenix, before the open dog leg and the change. But I still gotten, more used to this track, and it's a lot of fun. It's it's challenging corners. It's different. It's like a Pocono, but yeah, just took some time to figure it out, and I've done pretty well here in the past.
Well, that tonight rings true as well up here in the runner up spot. Off next week, we come back in 2 weeks at North Wilkesboro. How do you feel about that place for the 33?
Yeah, I'm not the best there, but I'll give it my go and see what we can get. I don't think I have anything scheduled for Friday, but I haven't been making every one of these, but I'll do what I can to make it and see what we can do.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Well, Scott, once again, congrats on the runner-up finish here at Phoenix. Before we let you go and celebrate that, we're going to go hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to here on the broadcast.
Yeah, 802 and all the guys and the admins that put everything together. Brett, you for broadcasting. It's fun to go back and watch them. Um, and everybody else that participated. Hopefully they enjoyed the show out there, and that's about it.
Alrighty, awesome stuff, Scott. Well, thanks again for you being part of the show here and chatting with me after the race. You, my man, take care. Go enjoy Super Bowl Daytona 500, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here sometime in the future.
All right, you too, buddy.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our runner-up finisher, the 33 of Scott Simley. Now we'll head down into Victory Lane and talk to the man of the hour. It is the 38 of Chad Coleman. Chad, do you got a copy of the Press Jet in the booth here?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, how we feeling after a dominant race here tonight at Phoenix?
Feels pretty good. I know Mike, Scott, and Ritter. There's a couple of guys in here that race with us tonight that's runs pretty decent here. But this is, for whatever reason, Phoenix has always been one of my favorite tracks in the game, whether it was the old version or this version. So tonight we lucked out with a qualifying lap and got to start from the pole and got to set the pace, and the pace we set was pretty good. And yeah, we just kind of rolled on out with it.
Yeah, that you did. I mean, able to check on out, keep, Scott at a nice, healthy gap, nice safe gap for you, even after the restart. But it seemed like tonight, man, passing was tough. Luckily for you, you didn't have to do too much of that. Like you said, just set your pace, and man, it was a good one at that.
Yeah, here, the good thing about Phoenix here is, well, for me anyway, I don't know about anybody else, but you're just able to fall into a rhythm. And right there, like probably for, I'd say 40 laps, Scott was a lot better than I was in 3 and 4. So I would break even for the rest of the lap, and he would catch me in 3 and 4. And then after we had ran, I don't know, probably 40 to go, I just kind of fell into a rhythm, not really thinking or anything, just, I don't know, it just kind of happened. And after that, my lap times, I was sitting there looking at my lap times were all within a tenth and a half of each other for about 40 laps, unless I was passing a car. And when you can stack lap times together like that, you're going to be hard to beat if nothing happens.
Oh, 100%, especially under green flag conditions, because you hear a tenth of a second a lap, whoop-de-doo, but you add that up over 40 laps, all of a sudden that's a 4-second gap.
Yeah.
Chad,
that's the only thing I try to do here. Try to get in a rhythm, and it's luckily we've got some long green flag runs, so it was kind of easier to do.
Yeah, luckily we were able to get that here tonight, and yeah, both times you're up on the wheel, able to get a great restart here. And what's kind of the key with Phoenix in your opinion? We hear how people kind of float the car around or the lines, but I really think it comes down to, especially with how long the straightaways are, is how you get off a 2, but especially how you get off a 4 and carry that momentum into 1.
Yeah, it is, and I know everybody's got their own way of doing things. You got a lot of people that want to drive the car in real deep and stop it and turn it. My whole thing at Phoenix, I've always done, even back to the old racetrack, I like to let the car roll here. So it's just carrying momentum. So that's pretty much what I did tonight. Just, kind of let it roll, and the right front stayed with me, and the car was really kind of neutral on the tight side most of the night, but that's what I do here. I don't know what everybody else is doing. I know a lot of people like I said, they want to drive it in until they see Jesus, but that's really not the way you want to do it here. For me, anyway. For me, that's never really worked. I like to let the car roll.
Yeah, and especially with the lack of banking, yeah, you can get away with it a few laps, but once you start really pounding this right front, getting it hot, it's tough to get the right front back, especially on a NASCAR car, right?
Yeah, you don't want to get the right front mad because they changed some stuff with the last build, and this car has been really tight on the tight side about everywhere we've raced, since that build, and hopefully when they get some updated setups out, they'll try to get it off the right front a little bit, but tonight was decent. I mean, I like Phoenix, so I mean it's kind of hard to mess it up for me if unless the setup's just a dump truck.
Yeah, but a place where it's not maybe a cakewalk. Last week at Darlington, you're able to finish third. Didn't maybe pit at the exact perfect lap. Tell us about your Darlington race as well, because that race, another wild one as well.
Yeah, at Darlington, really in both cars, I don't know, I was off. I was off more in the B car than I was in the Cup car, and the Cup car, it felt really good for the first part of the race, and then Bentley just came out of nowhere, but we wound up, I think, third in the Cup car, but then I think we might have wound up third in both of them.
You did, yep.
And yeah, I mean, that's what I was telling Steve down there. I was like, man, I said, I hadn't been able to talk to him about Darlington, and I said, I've ran a couple of races between here and there, and I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. But yeah, the only thing I could really remember there is I changed the brake bias after the first run, and the car did get better, and I didn't lose as much time over that second run. So that last run, I stayed out forever, hoping to draw a caution right there and bunch us all back up, and didn't get it. So I kind of maybe gave away a spot there, but that spot wouldn't go hurt nothing or help anything. Mike had us beat that night, so. But yeah, I mean that's about all I can remember from Darlington.
Yep, a great comeback there. You just probably a few more laps. You could have maybe had Steve Ritter there, but just ran out of time. Here tonight, time on your side, leading every lap, walking away with the pole and the win, man. What a sweep here from Phoenix.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until you just said that. That was a good night.
And I tell you what, a little extra bonus. Mike Kelly was on the 802 podcast. He also picked you to win the race tonight, so.
That's good. Yeah, he mentioned that before the race. I was like, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but thank you.
Well, it worked out pretty well for you. Able to walk away with the win here. I don't know if you take a look at the stats. I'm always a big stats guy. This is now your fourth career win here on the Friday nights. It actually now ties you with the most wins of anyone on the season.
That's cool. I wish we could have got over here, maybe raced a little bit earlier. Earlier this season with this car. I do like this car. I don't really like what they done to it with the build change, but I know my Sunday nights with over here with NIS getting ready to start back up. Me and a buddy of mine run the NIS races on Sundays, so I don't know how many more of them I'll make the rest of this year. But I'll definitely try to show back up for the Friday night races if there's not anything going on locally as far as racetrack stuff goes, and we'll run over here on Fridays. I enjoy racing with these guys, and this league's fun.
Yeah, I tell you what, we appreciate you having out here, putting on the show, and once again, congrats on the win here tonight from Phoenix, Chad. Before we let you go and celebrate down in Victory Lane, we got to hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out on the YouTube broadcast.
Just thank all the admins and sponsors with 802 League, and thanks for everybody for pretty clean race tonight. It was a good race for Phoenix. I think we only had maybe two cautions, one caution. I know we didn't have much. Thank you for doing the broadcast. We usually go back and give these a look sometime, and if nobody's doing anything Saturday for their Saturday afternoon, a little after lunch, we got the Interleague 500 tomorrow, and it'll be on YouTube. I cannot for the life of me remember who is broadcasting it, but if you go to YouTube and search it up, or Twitch and search it up, everybody should be able to find it. I think that race kick off around 1 or 1:30. 500 miles at Daytona.
Oh man, that's going to be a long one there, and I tell you what, going to be exciting to have that thing. It's always pretty intense, if you're in that mix with 5 to go, it's like, man, I just had 499 miles, and it comes down to this last, 2.5 laps.
Yep, yeah, those races I always try to survive for the first 450 and then go race for the last 50, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see how everything plays out.
All right, well, good luck to you there tomorrow night. But here tonight, Chad, once again, congrats on the win. So you, my man, take care. Have a great rest of your night, and I'm sure we'll be chatting with you here once again in the near future.
All right, thanks, Brett.
All righty, awesome stuff. That was our race winner down in Victory Lane, Chad Coleman, picking up career win number 4 here tonight. As that will do it on up, so let's head down here, get things wrapped on up with our race results. So from the Valley of the Sun 150, here is tonight's finishing results from Phoenix. Chad Coleman will pick up the win here. Scott Simley on the podium once again in P number 2. Mike Kelly will round out the podium in that 3rd position. Dustin Coggin on that tire strategy call will bring it home in 4th. And Logan Cougar needed a good point tonight. He got it in 5th. Ken Kugo in the 51 will bring it home in 6th. 7th going to Connor Dudek. And Steve Ritter will finish in 8th. Brandon Guerin will bring it home 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Ron Holyfield. Johnny Barker will finish 11th. 12th going to George Ledsma. Rick Kennedy will finish in 13th. Matt Croak will bring it home in 14th. And Landon Audit will round out the top 15. Finishing in 16th was Bryson Anderson. Jacob Wilson will finish P number 17th. 18th is Rob Lowell. Cody Gibson, our points leader, coming in and leaving tonight. Having a rough night, though, in 19th. And Larry Bell will round out the top 20. Tanner Marr will finish 21st. And Aiden Tatro will round out the field. So that will do it here tonight. We are off next week for the 500. Then we'll be back in 2 weeks for North Wilkesboro. So that'll do it here tonight. We, of course, got to thank everyone here tuning on in live or the replay. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. We also got to give a big shout out to the racers to put on the show, as well as the league here. All the league admin sponsors, those sponsors being BG Graphix, Riptide Radio, GStone Motorsports, Stone Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. And yeah, of course, our partners with Turn 3 Racing Network, that being Premier Setup Shops. You can check them out with a link in the description. So that'll do it here for me tonight. Everyone, take care, stay safe, and we will catch you in 2 weeks' time. And I've been Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.